From U.S. News, Trump vows to end use of mail-in ballots ahead of 2026 midterm election. From Reuters, U.S. President Donald Trump pledged on Monday to issue an executive order to end the use of mail-in ballots and voting machines ahead of the 2026 midterm elections, a move likely to disproportionately favor his Republican Party. Federal elections are administered at the state level, however, and it is unclear if the president has the constitutional power to enact the measure. Legal challenges by some states are likely. With Democrat voters traditionally more likely to use mail-in ballots than Republicans, Trump's pledge is his last effort to reshape the midterm election battlefield to his party's advantage. He has also urged Republicans in states, including Texas and Indiana, to redraw congressional districts to increase the likelihood of a Republican candidate being elected. Yes. The November 3rd, 2026 elections will be the first nationwide referendums on Trump's domestic and foreign policy since he returned to power in January. Democrats will be seeking to break Republicans' grip on both the House of Representatives and the Senate to block Trump's domestic agenda. I mean, they say to block Trump's domestic agenda, but really it's to try to impeach Trump. Like, they want to get the House so that way they can just have 2 years of attempts at impeaching him. And the way that this piece is written is clearly to be critical of Republicans. Look, it's likely that I have a very firm take on this. If the economy is not good next year at this time, it doesn't matter what policies the Republicans have or have talked about, the Republicans will lose the House. If the economy is good, then the Republicans can keep the House. That's not a guarantee. That's just saying that if they have the right people and they do the right things, if they're running the right candidates, they're doing the right things, the people that are running for re-election are actually doing the things they need to do to make sure that they win, then again, they can win. But it's all going to come down to the economy. And, the last bit of economic information that I saw was inflation kind of ticked up in the past month. This will not be good for Republicans if inflation is still running kind of hot next year at this time, because inflation, like, prices aren't going to come down. Inflation that happens, like, it's not like the inflation happens and then prices go up and then they come down again. Like, that inflation is sticky as hell. So this is I think this is a good idea. I think the Republicans should do these kind of things, because I think that anytime the Republicans can legally take any kind of political measures to give themselves an advantage, I think they should. Democrats will, given the chance. Newsom is talking about, if they redistrict in Texas, then we're going to redistrict in California. That doesn't matter, because if it turns into a redistricting fight, the Republicans have all the cards. There will be a handful of new seats that Democrats could win, but even still, it's not a guarantee. But there's a handful of seats that Democrats could win, and then Republicans, I think, would have something like 10. There was a tweet that I saw that I'll actually bring up in a second. But back to mail-in ballots. I mean, this is the smart play, right? This is the way to make sure that there aren't people doing funky things after the polls have closed or things are actually counted properly. I mean, what is your sense?
I mean, I remember being a kid and elections were figured out on the night of election night. When did we get away from that? Why is it now that, election day was Tuesday, we're not going to know who actually won until 2 weeks from today? Like, when did this start happening? I thought technology made things better and streamlined things to make things better.
The first time that I noticed it was, I think, 2020, right? Or was it? Because in 2016, we knew that Trump won, by midnight or something like that.
Did have the hanging chads.
The hanging chads, but the hanging chads are different than waiting to count, right? The hanging chads were like, that was Democrats saying, well, these aren't, we're not sure who they were voting for because there's a hanging chad, et cetera. But I thought that they were, and it was Democrats trying to do recounts. I was under the impression, the way that I remember it, it was all about Democrats saying, wait, it's close, so let's recount them.
Yeah.
And generally, every time they do a recount, the side that's trying to do the recount and wants to get more votes, miraculously they find more votes.
Yeah, the hanging chads.
You weren't supposed to notice that. You weren't supposed to.
Right?
Seriously, though, they want you to deny it. Like, I think of the hanging chads in terms of the Carrie Lake trial she had for her ballots, because it was sort of similar in terms of what was an invalid ballot. and they had no chain of custody for entire pallets of these ballots, and they actually printed out the wrong size ballot, and they couldn't feed it into the machine properly. It was totally bogus, and the court was totally stacked against her, and there were people that were caught lying on the stand. Didn't matter. It was insane, So I think this is great. I remember mail-in ballots only being, I'm sure this isn't the case, but as a kid, I remember them being mostly for soldiers who were overseas or something,
Yeah, that was the point.
which seems, I'm okay with that. But now it's the thing to do, and also dead people. And I'd like to stop that.
I wonder if it's because folks are getting, just a random thought, that folks are getting old, like their base for Democrats are getting really old. They get the boomers, are, they can't get into their cars, they can't drive, and that's why they harvest as well. Go around from place to place in the cities and be like, yo, old person here, go ahead and vote for Democrats so we can get more people on it, and where maybe younger folks might not be voting as much. But also, end of day, if we can use the power to keep America strong and safe and secure, freaking use it, Trump. Let's go.
Remember when Democrats are saying things like, our democracy, they don't actually mean democracy, because if they did, they wouldn't be looking to expand the court, expand the court and pack the court, and then they want to add states so that way they have the likelihood of more senators.
Lower the voting age,
and get rid of the Electoral College. All of these things are because they don't like the actual way that things go. Hey, Serge, can you bring that up so people can see? This is from Chris Eliza, who is no Republican or friend of conservatives. The states that redraw their maps, you get some in Oregon, California, Illinois, and Maryland. But look at this. This is a massive amount of possibility for the Republicans. So if this does turn into a fight between, Democrats and Republicans redistricting, the Republicans have a lot more possible votes to get or seats to get as opposed to Democrats. So even though, Gavin Newsom's news or whatever, his social media team is out there, doing the best they can in the past couple of days. And actually, in my opinion, they've got a couple funny tweets, but that's all they are, is just funny tweets. They're out there, doing the best they can. The reality of the situation is they're in a bad position to even try to talk about this argument, right? If they actually do want to get into a redistricting fight, Republicans seem like they're again holding all the cards.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever actually looked at Illinois' map as far as their representative? It's crazy. It looks like a kid drew what they could on the map, and you've got like it's a mess. So if they actually redistrict their map in Illinois, it's going to turn into Democrats fighting Democrats. Yeah. Same thing with California. It's going to turn into Democrats fighting Democrats over their seats. So the red states definitely have more to gain from any kind of redistrict kind of fight that they're going to go for. But as far as what Gavin Newsom's trying to do in retaliation to what Texas is doing, he's going to lose 10 times out of 10.
Yeah.
So if he wants to pick that fight, and he wants to pick that battle, and he wants to bring Illinois with him, he wants to bring Pritzker with him, they're going to lose. And I think ultimately the Democrat Party is looking at them like, don't do this. we're gonna lose this fight. Don't do this, please. Don't.
So the past couple of days, it's kind of seemed like Gavin Newsom has moved, and granted, we're a long way away from any election, right? And it's clear that Gavin Newsom wants to be the president, but it's in the past couple of days, it's really looked like he's kind of taken initiative and put himself in a position to be considered the face of the Democrat Party and really out there working it hard. Do you guys have the sense that he could possibly be the nominee? And how does someone like Gavin Newsom take on someone like AOC if she decides that she wants to run? Because both of them have, significant political chops, and AOC is very savvy. Who wins the primary for the Democrats if it's AOC versus Gavin Newsom versus Pritzker versus I don't know who else.
I don't think AOC's got a shot. I don't think AOC's got a shot. And anyone with common sense, 2 working brain cells, looks at AOC and is like, no. I don't think I think she'll appeal to the younger crowd. But listen, if they put her in a debate with a possible J.D. Vance, with a possible Marco Rubio, she will get destroyed. She'll get destroyed worse than Kamala Harris did.
But this is primaries that we're talking about. So maybe if she does go, I think you're right about.
So let's say let's pretend she beats Gavin Newsom, which I don't think is going to happen. But she'll get destroyed. I think the Democrat Party knows that. I think Gavin Newsom is their best shot, and I think he knows he's their best shot. So that's why he's been going on the podcast. That's why he's been trying to put his name more out there.
Have you seen the picture going around on X of Gavin Newsom and his family?
Oh, absolutely.
So they are just as white, blonde, blue-eyed. How does that family win the Democrat nomination? Because people that are looking to win are going to use the fact that he's a white guy and it's a white family. And because if that was a Republican, it'd be like, they're Nazis. Clearly, look at, they're blonde, they're blue-eyed. Look, of course they're Nazis. That was the same argument that the people were making about the Sidney Sweeney. So how does he beat that?
See, if I'm Jasmine Crockett, this is my time to shine.
She's his VP.
Listen, I'd be calling Gavin like, hey, listen, Gavin. You're gonna need a sister girl out there.
You need a Kamala.
Yeah. You need a Kamala. You need a sister girl. So listen, I'm your best shot. Who do the Democrats have? I mean,
not Ilhan.
Not Ilhan, because I don't think she can be VP.
Yeah, hopefully no, she can't.
No, she can't. She's born in America.
You can't marry your brother and be VP.
But I mean, listen, if I'm Jasmine Crockett, or you know what? Maybe this is where AOC comes in.
Yeah,
she's
I could see that. I could see that. I think Gavin Newsom announced his run for presidency when he announced his podcast. Like, it was a slow rebranding into him being this national figure. I mean, I was at the primary debate at the Reagan Library for the Republicans. Trump wasn't there. It was all these, Vivek, I forget, Nikki Haley, all those people, and Newsom showed up at the library, and he took over. His presence dominated. For all the Fox News guys, Sean Hannity, that's all they wanted to talk to. And he's charming, like a devil. He is super charming. But he dominated. The other guys, they didn't even do many interviews. Some of them just walked away afterwards, the Republicans. But he took over the whole thing. And to see him work like that, it's insane. It's infuriating because he tricks people. I even see a lot of Republicans there who were fawning over him because they think he's this handsome guy. It's just like that. He looks like American Psycho to me.
Yes.
And there's no amount of rebranding he can do that will ever make me forget what he did during COVID. And the same goes for any of these leftists.
I mean, to be fair, I do think that you're fairly anomalous, though.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't think that, I think that the average kind of person that would meet Gavin Newsom isn't going to be as critical as you would be. Right? Like, I mean, I don't know.
Most people who fled California.
That's in the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot of people. Yeah. And to be honest with you, like, I spent all weekend putting pictures of the sand-filled skate parks underneath everything that Gavin Newsom was doing. I'm just like, all right, if it just came across, I'm like, I'll grab the picture, just post it. That's it. Because he's trying to use the freedom, and the free California was one of the things they were talking about. Come to the free state of California, which is absolutely ridiculous. Like, the idea that California is one of the freest states is just absurd. But I think that the media team that he's got is really, really savvy. I think they're smart, and I think that the things that they're doing will convince people, and it definitely will fire Democrats up. Mm-hmm. I know that the chat's going to hate the fact anytime you say anything like this, that's like any kind of analysis where it's like, look, these are good ideas and they're going to work. They're just like, oh, you're a shill, you're a moron. But that it's true, right? Like the same thing with like AOC. Like AOC, as much as, you can hate her, and I hate her policies, I would never vote for her, but you can't deny when she gets on Instagram and she's cooking and she's talking to people, young people are just like, that's my girl, I love her, tons of them. And to discard, just blow that aside, or to not pay attention to how dangerous that is to Republicans and to the country, because I think their policies would be terrible for the country. If you disregard how dangerous that is, that's the same thing that people did about Donald Trump. They ignored all the people that were saying, I like Donald Trump. I mean, Hillary Clinton had a 95 or 98% chance on election night. And it was clear to a handful of people, Donald Trump's going to win. And they laughed. They laughed at him. So the idea that we can just ignore these people and just say, oh, they're stupid. Oh, they're stupid because we disagree with them. That is an error. It's an error that will cost the American people significantly.
Despite Newsom being charming, I think it's inauthentic. And Trump, I think, is better at being authentic, despite him making people really uncomfortable sometimes on the left, of course. But I don't think Newsom's able to carry that inauthenticity on a national platform. And I just disagree. I think a lot of people aren't going to forget how bad he governed California, not just during COVID, but afterwards. I mean, it was super dystopian. A lot of people did leave. He also has a long track record in California between being mayor, these controversies and all this stuff. I don't know if people are going to forget that so easily.
So one of the things that we go ahead, please.
No, I'll say this. I hate to disagree with you.
Yeah.
But American voters have a very short memory.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, like I listened to Gavin Newsom on a podcast, and if I didn't know any better, he comes across as a normal, level-headed kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think about how he shut down California. You don't think about how he told everybody in California to lock down, but then he was caught at the French Laundry. You know, you don't think about all the policies he did, how he kicked all the homeless people out of California or out of L.A. real quick so that Chairman Mao could come and hang out and drive through the streets and make it look like, you know, California's this pristine place.
Yep.
And then on the podcast, he's like, yeah, you know, that was, I own up to it and it was wrong of me to do so. And, you know, so he comes across as like a level-headed kind of guy.
Yep.
And the American voter has a very short memory. Yep. I mean, thankfully, they didn't fall into it with Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is like, you know, the devil spawned herself. Right. But for Gavin Newsom, and especially, like you said, if the economy doesn't shape back up, if Trump doesn't deliver on a lot of stuff he was doing, if J.D. Vance takes a tumble somewhere, we might be looking at it.
How do you feel in terms of that in New York with Cuomo running for mayor? Because that's all. I left New York because of Cuomo, you know, for a lot of reasons, but Cuomo being one of the main reasons, because he governed a lot like Newsom, I'd say even maybe worse in many ways. Do you think the people in New York have that short-term memory when it comes to Cuomo, or are they just going to Mamdani?
I think if you look at New York, it's just that Mamdani came out of nowhere, and he was this guy. He got a lot of younger people behind him. He said all the right things. I'm going to give you free this and free that and free this. And for a lot of these kids coming out of college, it's like, hey, that's wonderful. I'm not gonna have to pay for anything, you know. With Cuomo, I think it was more he dropped the ball as far as he expected to just get the vote. He expected his name recognition. And,
entitled.
Yeah, he felt like he was just entitled to it. I think he felt like he didn't have to work. I think Hillary actually fell into the same trap as well. Hillary just kind of figured, listen, you're going to vote for me because of who my husband is, and Barack already gave me the blessing for it.
Yeah. It's my turn.
It's my turn, you know, and I'm a woman, so you're going to vote for me. Yeah. And then Trump came out of nowhere. I think Cuomo fell into that same trap. I don't think Newsom's going to fall into that trap. Like, he's already going on the podcast. He's already putting himself out there. He's already, you know, got his own podcast. He's already going out there and smiling and shaking hands and talking about other states other than California. Yeah. So he's not falling into that trap.
Like, I'm very, very pro 2A. Like, I'm repeal the Hughes Amendment 2A, pro 2A, right? Like, machine guns should be sold in vending machines. So when I saw Gavin Newsom go on the Sean Ryan show, I was like, this guy is going to be dangerous, because that was very smart. Obviously, the people that watch Sean Ryan all the time, the people that actually are really pro 2A, they know that Sean gave him a handgun. He ain't gonna carry that. It's not like he's gonna be, you know, down at the range, appendix carry, clearing his shirt. You know, that's not happening. But the fact that he went there and he was talking to him, he had a bunch of people that were conservative. He had Charlie Kirk on his podcast. I'm talking about Gavin Newsom, had Charlie Kirk on his podcast. These kind of things are going to be able to sway the people that are just a little moderate. And one of the things that we said a lot before the before the last election was there are very few moderates, right? Or there are very few undecided, right? Like, so the Democrats are going to vote for whoever the nominee is. So if it's Newsom, there you go. They're going to vote for Newsom. That's baked in. And there's a small portion of people that you can sway. And again, I firmly believe that the economy is the actual most important topic all the time, every election. And if the economy is not doing well in come 2028, the Republicans, whoever the Republican candidate is going to have a hard time. Because how do you distance yourself? If it is J.D. Vance, how do you distance yourself from Donald Trump? Because Donald Trump will not let you. If you say, well, that was Trump, Donald Trump will get on Truth Social and just shit all over you. I can imagine it. So you're not going to be able to distance yourself from Trump. And if you're going up against someone like Gavin Newsom, who is a chameleon or a lizard, which chameleon's a lizard, right?
Yeah.
I think so. But yeah, like you go up against that guy who can walk into a place with moderates and they'll be like, look, man, I can get behind this guy. See, he doesn't hate guns. Look, didn't you see him on Sean Ryan? They don't have any idea what California's gun laws are like. Or they would say, well, they're not his fault. He was only the governor for a couple years, and those California gun laws have been like that. There's a bunch of excuses that people can come up with. So the idea that this guy is someone that you can, just blow off.
The thing to remember about Gavin Newsom, having lived in California, is that he is a conniving psychopath. And I think he's actually a brilliant psychopath.
It's part of the problem.
Yeah.
He's a brilliant, but here's the thing: he's a brilliant politician, not in terms of policy or in terms of governing,
absolutely.
but in terms of the rot and filth that makes politics what it is. He loves that stuff. Yeah. That is what he knows that he loves that. He loves to be in that swamp and in the muck, and he's really good at it.
So perfect for the White House.
Yeah, in many ways he is, and I'm not joking about that. Yeah. Because he knows how to be that politician. He wants to be at the very top.
And to your guys' points about the short-term memory, J.D. Vance was a never Trumper not that long ago, right? And the right forgave him. I just have a really hard time. I hold a grudge against politicians. I can't imagine ever forgiving any of these people, left or right, for what they did during COVID, and we're still feeling the ramifications for that. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I probably won't again, though. I'm probably done after last time.
I'll tell you this, though. Trump showed that the election comes down to the swing states. You're not going to go after the red states who are going to vote for the Republican. You're not going to go after the blue states that are just, there. You might as well just call those states before anything comes in, right? You're going to have to go for the swing states. And the more Gavin Newsom, which is what he's doing now, looks like he's in the middle. Like you talk about the Sean Ryan show. First thing he said was, oh, man, yeah, this is great. This is great. Listen, I'm not anti-gun. I just want common sense stuff. And Sean Ryan didn't push back against him.
I saw.
So he was able to filibuster and he was able to talk and he was able to boost himself up as much as he could. And the more he talked, which is scary, the more he came across as right in the middle. He didn't come across as an extreme to either side. Hey, listen, I'm just a common sense guy, and this is who my mom was, and this is, I didn't really know my father growing up. So now he's appealing to the guys who maybe came from broken homes, didn't have a lot. Hey, listen, this guy was a rich kid growing up, but the way he describes it,
yeah,
he was struggling. I had a business. I had to hire my mom, and we all sat. So he comes across as very down home, very, very middle of the road. Yeah. My story's just like yours, and he comes across as very likable.
Joe Biden did the same thing.
Listen, yeah, Joe Biden. Every time you turn around, every time you turn around, I was Catholic, but grew up with a bunch of Muslims, and but with
raised in the black church.
And Pentecostals were right across the street.
We used to go out and eat Chinese food all the time.
He every time you turn around, he came from someplace.
Yeah.
And Gavin Newsom is doing the same thing, but better.
Yeah,
That's what makes him scary.
Yeah, he's slick.
He won't get as much of the progressives and the radicals want someone, the family, the photo of him and his family, they're Nazis. They're never going to get that. Like, there are going to be more moderates, and they don't, at the end of the day, they don't care what the color is. As long as that person is going to feed their policies and their ideology into the government.
I disagree. I do think.
You think?
Well, I think part of the reason why they had to go with Kamala was because she was a black woman.
Right? And they had like 4 days.
That's when the tide started to
they
turn
announced
on this
that.
whole white-black thing in terms of how that picture would look or be manipulated by other people.
Yeah.
Also, remember too, Biden was being painted as a racist.
Yes.
So he had to.
Oh,
go
that's
out.
yeah.
He had to go out and get himself
sure.
the closest thing to a sister girl he could get
To make up for his, he was friends with Bird.
Busing. He was
Yeah.
busing.
She says she's black. She's kind of tan. You know what? Let's go for it. Newsom doesn't have that hanging over his head.
No, and that's why I go with Ro Khanna too. Also, I say Ro Khanna might have a chance because he's more moderate and he has. he's very moderate, but he's not like super far left.
Yeah.
Whereas Gavin is super far left and crazy. Go ahead.
Do you think
I know you want to fight.
Well, no, I just wondering. Do you guys think that, because what he said, do you think that Newsom is actually super far left, or do you think that he's just a political animal that had been doing the things that were necessary to win in California? Because it's my sense that I don't know what he truly believes. I don't know what his actual politics are. I think that he's just extremely politically savvy, and he's done the things necessary to win in the places that he's been running, which is why he's making a move to the center, because he doesn't really believe. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what he believes, but he doesn't really believe. He touched the sacred cow and said, "Oh, well, it's a bad idea to have trans kids, trans women, men competing against women." Like, that is verboten in the Democrat Party, in the progressive wing of the Democrat Party. But he's moved away from those kind of things because he knows they're unpopular. So is it, and I'd like to hear from everybody. Do you
like a
think that
chameleon? He changes his
I was
colors,
just thinking that.
right? Yeah. He's straight up. He is inauthentic, but he's charming at doing it. So he will be whatever. He's a vessel for whatever policy he thinks will get him the most political capital.
That's
why he's dangerous.
It's kind of an old school, bygone era way to play politics, which brings up the Joe Biden comparison. Like, but he knows how to kind of retrofit that old school style to 2025.
Right.
But it's still the same thing.
It's Hillary with the hot sauce, but like a little more charming,
more believable and
more
charming?
more believable. Yeah.
It's not as in your face with Hillary playing dominoes up in Spanish Harlem.
Did she carry hot sauce in her purse, right?
That
was
she got
so
hot
crazy.
sauce in her purse, and I don't think anybody believed that.
No one believed that.
But,
Not even in the room. Yeah.
But he is the type, but that's why I think he's going on these podcasts the way he did.
Yeah.
He actually looked at how Kamala Harris avoided all the podcasts and said, you know what, that's going to be the first thing I do. So, so when he's on the podcast, he's not going on Joe Rogan because Joe Rogan will eat him alive.
Yeah.
But
You think so?
oh, absolutely.
He left California.
I'd love to see that. That'd be If he wants to be president, he needs to go on.
If he goes on Joe Rogan, I'll give him his props.
He will. I bet you he will. He's such a narcissist.
And he'll be so smooth and ratty.
He doesn't care about pushback.
He'll do it, and he'll wait until the summer before the election. He won't do it early. He's not going to. He's going to do it when people he'll do it June or July.
Because Joe Rogan has already come out and said, I don't like him. So he's not going to be able to do what he did on Sean Ryan. Like if you notice, when he went on Sean Ryan, Joe Rogan actually texted Sean
I saw that,
a question.
Yeah.
And he did everything but answer the question that Joe Rogan posed to him on Sean Ryan's show.
Yeah, right.
He talked in circles all the way around that question and then came out on the other side.
No, it's brilliant what he does. Did you guys see his interview with Steve Bannon?
No.
It was great. So he did that for an hour, and at the end of he's like, see, we're both just populists here. We're just populists talking.
Funny.
He's a genius. He's a genius for that
smart.
kind of reptile figure.
I'm not going to take away from his. He is a brilliant politician, just an evil politician.
Like what you guys said, he's a lizard. He could chameleon. He's super dangerous. Therefore, he's dangerous.
Yes.
Our public.
Yes.
That's my
true.
honestly my point for kind of directing the conversation this way is I think that there are too many people that are on the right that think that we've come into a golden age and Trump, and then of course it's going to be Vance and the Democrats because they're polling so low they're never going to win, and that is a recipe for disaster. Because I've asked who do you guys think are talented on the Democrat side, and there are a lot of people like nobody, they're all dumb, blah blah blah, because they're all talking with their opinion about what they say or how they feel about those people, and they're not taking a realistic political view on these people, and they're not thinking about how dangerous is this person, how capable is this person to come across to the very small amount of people that can actually be swayed. It's maybe there are 10 million people in America that actually could be swayed, throughout the whole country. Otherwise, everyone's kind of locked into their teams. And I think it's really important for conservatives and people on the right to address that and look at that as what it is, which is very dangerous. Because if someone like Gavin Newsom gets in, the Democrats take control of the House and Senate, and they get the presidency, you know that they will be arresting conservatives. They will do all of the stuff that Joe Biden was doing. They will put all of their bureaucrat friends back into positions of authority. They will be going after conservatives. They've been doing it since 2012 with the IRS stuff that Lois Lerner was doing it. They didn't stop. They continued, and it will only get worse. So it's in my opinion, it's very important for people on the right to understand that they will be coming after you. They will be coming after you if you speak up. They will be coming after you if you don't abide by their rules. If you don't want your kid to go to a school that is teaching LGBT stuff, they will come to your house, they will take your kid from you, and they will treat you like you're a criminal because they'll say you're hateful. There will be hate speech laws. It will be an absolute nightmare. All the things you see in the UK, that will come here. Yeah. And if you look at what's going on in the UK, it is an effing nightmare. Where like they arrest like 3,000 people a year for Facebook posts. They arrest more people in the UK for Facebook posts than there have been people in Russia arrested for speaking out against Putin. And Russia is a pure dictatorship. And if you think that can't happen here, just look at COVID. That did happen here, and it will only be worse. So it's vitally important for people to not think that Republicans are a shoo-in. It's vitally important for people to understand that should someone like AOC or should someone like Gavin Newsom win, that all that stuff is back on the table, and they will. It's just like when Biden was president, but it'll be way worse.
This whole Newsom talk might have just real quick changed my mind because Ro he's moderate and he's authentic. I feel like he believes what he believes, and that's not going to get him elected. Whereas Newsom is a slimy rat lizard, and he'll do whatever he says to get himself.
But even if it's Ro Khanna, he'll still appoint the same bureaucrats to me, it's as much as Newsom is scary because he could get elected, and that's the thing that's bad.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter which one of them gets elected. They're still going to appoint the same bureaucrats with the same opinions, and they're still going to do the same stuff. So whether it be Ro Khanna or whether it be AOC or whether it be Newsom or whether it be Jasmine Crockett or whoever, right? It doesn't matter because it'll be the bureaucrats underneath them.
Yeah.
It'll be that will be using the DOJ to go after conservatives. It'll be the bureaucrats underneath them that will be saying, "Oh, we need to bolster the Department of Education because of all the stuff that Trump did," and it'll be a nightmare. So
what no one's talking about though, which scares me, which keeps me up at night, no one's talking about the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about, we got 3.5 years of Trump left, right? And then we've got potentially, if Gavin Newsom gets into office, another 8 years of him. And how many Supreme Court appointments is he going to have?
Oh, shoot.
That's going to wildly swing our Constitution back the other way. Because if you have the Supreme Court and you control the Supreme Court, you can override the Bill of Rights. So Second Amendment is going to be severely restricted federally. Free speech, the First Amendment, is going to be severely affected federally. We're talking about everything that's going on with the illegals right now on the border. 8 years of being able to go after the 14th Amendment is going to be wild. Yep. So I mean, that's what we're looking at right now with a potential Gavin Newsom presidency.
Yep. Look how bad the 4 years of Biden was with the border in particular. And what you're saying, I totally agree. People should not be underestimating the left. I think Trump winning this second term remobilized, re-energized the left, and they're turning into a beast,
Absolutely.
A bigger beast, that you can't underestimate.
Like we were like, let's go America, let's go vote for the Republicans, let's vote for Trump. And now that we're won, we're like, hey, we're not as energized as we should be. We should definitely not take our foot off the pedal and keep that ish going.
Yeah. All gas, no brakes.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.